Friday already. The Web3 Compass team is shipping. What's stopping you? Hi everyone, this is Sneha from Web3 Compass and we are here for day 5 of 30 days of building with Solidity. Again, for everyone who is not aware about this campaign, please head over to the first video. That is where I talk about it in detail, or head over to web3compass.xyz and check it for yourself. For everyone else who has been tolerating me for the past 4 days, here we are. Day 5. So today we're going to write a smart contract called AdminOnly, and the concepts that we're going to talk about is modifier, message.sender for ownership, and basis access control. We're going to look at an example application building a contract that stimulates a treasure chest which is controlled by an owner, okay? Because we need boundaries. Like, so far we've been building smart contracts where literally anyone could do almost anything, place a bid, vote for someone, click a button, fine. But then it's great for open and fair system, but let's be honest, right? Sometimes you need to lock things down and you need boundaries. You need to say that, hey, only I can do this. So yeah, that is why only the owner can add treasure, approve withdrawal for specific users, even withdraw treasure themselves. Other users can attempt to withdraw, but only if the owner has given them an allowance and they haven't withdrawn before. The owner can also reset withdrawal statuses and transfer ownership of the treasure chest. Like, I might be busy and I don't want to keep approving people, so hey, just do it for me. But I give you the permission. So this basically demonstrates how to create a contract with restricted access using a modifier and message.sender, similar to how only an admin can perform certain actions in a game or application. So that's pretty much it about what we'll be implementing today. So let's just head over to Remix. Oops, we have the old file open. I just never remember to close my tabs, and that is why you'll see a lot of my previous work. But today's smart contract is called AdminOnly dots. So, okay, great. Let's just copy it from here. You should type it, okay? You should type it. Well, yeah, usual. See, that is why you should type it, because for me even the copy pasting is taking time. I really need to practice typing. But yeah, contract admin only dots. So admin only, no dot soul, okay? No dot soul. Just ignore that mistake. That's an honest mistake. Anyway, so this might sound simple, but under the hood it teaches you some of the most important Solidity concepts. Message.sender, we've already discussed that whosoever is calling the function has it. Require is when we are stopping things, when rules are broken. Modifiers, we are trying to protect functions, adding some limitations to it. And then mappings, again, we've talked about is to track specific permissions and actions. So what does a treasure chest really need, right? Because before we write any logic, what we've been trying to figure out is what kind of information this contract needs to remember. So certain variables at the top may be a owner, what is the treasure amount that we're setting up, a mapping of addresses and the values around withdrawal allowance. Like, okay, I have a treasure of 100 ETH and I want, say, to be able to withdraw it, but then maybe just 10 ETH, okay, because I'm just worried that he would just spend it all, right? So then for his wallet address, I have to limit that allowance, and then I have to also check that, okay, I only want you to withdraw once. You cannot do it again and again. So I'll do a mapping which has your address, and it also has a Boolean value which says, okay, have you withdrawn previously? If not, go about it. If the value is set to true, you're not allowed. So we'll just quickly write address public owner again to specify who the owner is. In the last video also we did this, and we're going to set it up only once. So that is why we're going to declare this with the constructor. I mean, initialize it with the constructor, and we're already putting the variables here. So we say uint 256 public treasure amount, okay, and then we say, okay, mapping, that has to be address, what did I want to map it with? uint 256, right? Because I have to set an amount. So okay, public withdrawal allowance. Yay, good job, no mistakes. Yay. Another mapping would be what? Again, your address with a full value. Checking if has withdrawn. Okay, great. So this is done. We already can understand what each of it is doing. Pretty simple in terms of it. What is it that, I mean, there's nothing very serious that we've implemented here. So next, what is it that we're supposed to do? We're just going to write constructor, right? As we already discussed that we're going to talk about the owner, so let's just set it once, because constructor is going to be called only once when the event when the contract is going to be deployed, right? So we just say, hey, owner equals to message dot sender, takes my address by default, right? Again, we discussed constructor in our previous video, so head over to that, talk about it. Message.sender, again, a built-in global variable in Solidity, which always tells you that who is currently calling the function. Okay, so we're going to now implement a very cool feature or a cool section of Solidity, which says, we are saying that only the owner should be able to run certain functions, right? But how are we going to enforce that without repeating the same check again and again? So that is where modifiers come in, okay? So this is how we're going to write it. So there's this modifier only owner, and we say, hey, you know what? You have to check if message.sender equals to owner, right? Now again, if yes, it's fine. If not, right, we have to write the opposite of what is expected out of here. So we say access denied, only the owner can perform this action, okay? And there's a pretty interesting way where we write an underscore in just a semicolon, which says, hey, you know what, you can just continue with the rest of the code as well. Now it says, Sneha, what's going on here, right? What is it that it's doing, right? Is it just is it going to run multiple times? When is it supposed to run? If everything passes, is the function going to run, or will it break? What is it that we're looking at? So modifier is basically a filter or a gatekeeper that runs before your function code. You can think of it like a pre-check. Okay, so before the function runs, the modifier does its job. If everything passes, the function proceeds. If something fails, it gets stopped in its tracks, right? So the require inside the modifier is checking that, hey, you know, if the person calling this is not the owner, stop everything and throw this error. Otherwise, just proceed, right? And again, with the underscore, as I mentioned, that when you write a function like that, and this will act as a placeholder that, once the modifier logic passes, this is where the rest of the function should run, right? It's not breaking right there. Oh wait, I saw an error here. Yeah, so that underscore is like just proceed with the function that is implementing that modifier, okay? So that's what it does. Now, okay, now that we've done this, we will go on to adding the treasure to our treasure chest. So we'll create a function, maybe add treasure, right? Now, one parameter is fine. All we need is an amount. But what you will see interestingly here is that everyone knows that it will be public, but that is how we're going to call the modifier, and we say, oh, now I know. Okay. So, yeah. So, treasure, spare me the horror. Treasure amount plus equals to amount, right? So that is all that you have to do. If it is initialized to 0 by default, then whatever amount that you add, it just goes about it, right? So what it does is, how is Solidity going to look at it is that when you call this, it will assume that, oh, there is a require condition. This require condition is actually placed here. So it's checking it there, okay? And then only if this condition passes, then continue to function logic, okay? So yeah, that is how it's going to look like, right? So we'll just not remove these comments. It's fine for you to like just understand. So we can look at it like, oh, this modifier is just being injected in the function right before your actual coding is, happening, or logic is being implemented, right? So we have done the function add treasure. Now, what is it that next? We need to add a function that allows or approves others to withdraw, right? So we say, okay, function approve withdrawal, right? Now, what do you need, right? When you're talking about approval of withdrawals, you need their wallet addresses. I will say, okay, whoever is the recipient, I don't know if that is the correct spelling. It's not. Okay. Yeah, so address, and then how much are they allowed to withdraw, right? Like I want it to only withdraw 10 ETH out of the 100 one. So yeah, I need to specify the amount. Again, public remains same, and we need to tell this function as well that, hey, only owner, that is me, can do this. Okay, so fine, let's go about it. Now it will check another condition, right? Because you have to check if the amount that you're talking about, is it less than the treasure amount or greater, right? And then maybe throw an error. So it says, okay, if amount here is less than equals to treasure amount, right? It's fine, proceed. If not, insufficient funds in the contract. Okay, so you do not have enough funds to actually give them. And then we say, okay, withdrawal allowance, which we have created here, which is a mapping. So you provide the recipient address, and it says, okay, just proceed with giving them the access, right? Now, no. Okay, so that's it, right? So you check if the chest is enough to fulfill this approval, assign the amount to the recipient's allowance, and then now the approved user can just claim their treasure. Okay, now am I supposed to withdraw the treasure? Yes, but only if I'm allowed, right? So we want to let approved users withdraw, but under a few conditions, that they must be approved. They must have not already been withdrawn, because we only want them to do it once, and the chest must still have like enough treasure, right? So what we do is we say, okay, let's create function which says function withdraw treasure. Okay, again, how much amount? That's the only parameter that you need, and then say public. Now for this one, we do not need to specify only owner, because anybody can do it only if they have the access for it. Okay, and only if they have not done it already. So we'll check if message.sender is the owner. Okay, like owner can obviously withdraw, like come on, it's my money, I have to, right? So it says, okay, again, same condition, require amount less than equals to treasure amount, comma, come on, this is when AI is supposed to help. Yeah, insufficient spend in the contract, else just treasure amount minus equals to amount, right? If it goes through, it goes through, right? And just the return, get out of it, right? Breakthrough, okay? And then we say, okay, if you're talking about other allowances, like fine, if it's the if the message.sender is the owner, it's okay. We're not looking at anything, but we need to figure out that if it is someone else who is doing it, is that particular person allowed to do it, right? So we say, okay, we check if withdrawal allowance message.sender, okay, is there an allowance that we're talking about? So is there a mapping, and what is the amount, right? That is what is stored in allowance here. And we say, okay, let's check if required, if allowance is greater than 0. Okay, great. But if not, you do not have any treasure allowance. Okay, again, opposite of what we are supposed to get for the first condition, right? If otherwise, okay, suppose you have already executed it, okay, so you will check, okay, has withdrawn message dot sender, okay, yeah, how are we going to check it? We're going to use a not operator here, and we say, okay, if not, right, great, but otherwise you have already withdrawn your treasure. Great. Now what else? Has withdrawn. Oh, spelling mistake, guys. Okay, now we really need to check another condition, if do we have enough in the treasury, right? So you say, hey, wait, is the allowance that I've been talking about less than equals to the treasure amount? If yes, please go forward. If not, it's high time to know that broke. In the chest. Okay. Now, great. All conditions implemented. So we say, once we're doing this, we also need to put some conditions. So we say, okay, if all of this goes through, the has withdrawn with whosoever is calling this should be set to true, because that's how, if he or she tries to get it next time, we're going to say, no, don't do it. Okay. Now here, it's not going to be amount, it's going to be allowance, because that's what we are working with. And we are saying, okay, withdrawal allowance to the sender should now be set to 0, because enough, you've done it already. So, okay, if the owner, let's just put it all together. If the owner is withdrawing, they can take whatever amount they want as long as it is available. Again, my money, right? But if it's anyone else, we need to check the allowance. We have to check if they've already withdrawn. We have to check if there's enough treasure. And then if they pass all the checks, we let them take the treasure, but only once. Okay. Now, great. This is done. We want to set someone's withdrawal status. Okay. But let's just compile it first. Too much code writing. Okay. Own contract. Okay, so now it's time. Admin only, create. So we're saying, okay, add treasure. Let me do 23. Transact. Went through. Great. What is the treasure amount? 23. Who's the owner? That is me. That is my account. Okay. Now, approve withdrawal recipient amount, right? So what I will do here is I'll just choose this particular address 0x4v2, copy it here, okay, and just paste it here, and then we say you can only take 3, right? So now we say, okay, 3, only the owner can perform this action. So what we did here is that we forgot to change ourselves back to my owner account. That is where that is the account from which we actually deployed the smart contract. So we just go about it and then again try to call this, right? Because this time it did not go through, right? You saw it and it says, hey, access denied, only the owner can perform this action. That's the exact message that we had given here, that access denied, only the owner can perform this action. So now we'll just make it a little bigger, try to transact, and yay, it goes through, right? Now let's change it to this again and say I want to withdraw treasure, right? What is the amount? I had the approval of 3, okay, but I want to withdraw 6. What? It went through? Went through. Now let me check the treasure amount. No, but the deducted was, so we have done some mistake here. What is the mistake that we did here? Okay, so it went through because we've not really put a condition that says, hey, you have to match the allowance that is allowed with the amount that the person is trying to withdraw, right? Because we're not putting any condition for the owner to withdraw, but we need to put that for the person who is apart from the owner, whosoever is trying to withdraw. So it says, okay, AI suggests that if amount is less than equals to allowance, you do not have enough treasures in the chest. No, that's not what we're going to do. We're saying, hey, you know what? Require if the amount is greater than allowance. So if the amount is greater than allowance, then you're not supposed to withdraw, right? But if it is less than allowance, then it's fine. So here we're supposed to write the other way around, right? So it has to say, hey, if the amount is less than equals to allowance, it's totally fine, but if not, you do not have enough allowance for withdrawal, yeah, or any message that goes through, right? And then we'll see if we are doing the right thing. So again, we'll compile it here, try to deploy. Let's see what happens. Okay, so again, can I expand this a little? So I say, okay, let's add treasure. I add 28. Okay, goes through, fine. I am the owner, this is the treasure amount. Now approve a withdrawal. Okay, so I'll change to some of my other account, maybe choose for 787. I just have to copy it. Okay. Now paste it here. While you're doing this, you need to remember that you have to change this to the owner account to, for the approved withdrawal thing to go through, right? And I say, hey, you know what? You can withdraw 8 and do a transaction. Good, went through, right? So now if I say, okay, I want to withdraw treasure, you need to switch back to the account that has gotten the access and say, I want to withdraw 10. Transaction. No, now it does not go through. It says, hey, you know what? You do not have enough allowance for withdrawal, right? What if I would have said some other account like 617? We have not used it, right? So I say, I want to withdraw treasure, transact. Oh, you do not have any treasure allowance. Again, I think I have made a spelling mistake here, honest mistakes. So yeah, that is how it works, and this is the condition that we were missing. So now that's sorted, and once if I paste this account address, right? If I paste this account address and check that, what is the withdrawal allowance, I just paste it here and say, oh, okay, fine, you have a withdrawal allowance of 8, right? Now, so we've done this, that we are talking about approving withdrawal, and then the person is also able to withdraw treasure, right? Now that we're able to check how much of an allowance is allowed for a particular account, what if we want to just reset someone's allowance? Like, oh, I'm angry and I'm not in a mood to give you 8 ethos. Okay, maybe I just want to make it to 0 or reduce it to half or whatsoever, right? So we say, okay, function reset withdrawal status. Okay, and we say, okay, address of the user, whosoever is it that we want to reset, and it will be a public function. Again, since only a owner can approve or give allowance, only the owner is supposed to reset the entire withdrawal status. So we'll again call the modifier here and say, hey, what is it that we want to do here again? Now we have to say, okay, has withdrawn user, false. Like, oh, okay, I'm resetting it. Simple, powerful. Maybe they made a mistake, maybe they deserve a second round or whatsoever. So I just set it. But here we're not implementing that. What is the amount that we're talking about in terms of allowance? We can obviously change it here, but we first talk about resetting allowance. Now, imagine I go on a vacation, because come on, everyone's supposed to take a break, and I'm saying, hey, I want to transfer my ownership to be able to, for someone else to, continue with the operations that they have to do, and they do not have to rely on my approval. So I will say that let's just transfer ownership. How is it that we do? So we say, okay, function transfer ownership. We say, okay, address, obviously that is what we need to pass for that particular person to get the ownership. New owner, again, this will be a public function, but is only supposed to be done by the current owner. So we say, okay, we call the modifier again, and we say, okay, you have to first check a condition that, okay, is the new owner not equals to address of whatever is at index 0. So we say, okay, it's an invalid new owner that we're talking about. If everything else is fine. Owner is the new owner. Okay. Why is it showing? Oh, yeah, sorry. So we're checking it at index 0, right? Now we say, okay, this is fine. Okay. Transfer ownership. And what else do we want to do? We want to say, okay, I want to check the treasure, but I only want the owner to maybe have such a liberty that only I as a owner can check what is the treasure. Nobody else can. Okay, so I limit that function. So I will say, hey, you know what, let's write just another function around getting the treasure detail. Get treasure details. Now we're not passing any parameter because we just need a value from here. We don't want to, change anything. So we'll say, okay, public view. We know that there will be returns, but then we want to restrict it only to the owner. So we will, use the modifier here again and say, okay, returns uint 256. Okay. And what is it? We just want to get the treasure amount. So far, so good. What does it say? Okay, that's a warning, but why is it a warning? Oh, sorry, I forgot to add return. Treasure amount, yeah, cool. So the motive behind implementing this is to be able to use a concept again and again and show you that, oh, how is it that we are trying to put everything together? Even if, you say that, hey, you know what, I think the real world thing would be more complicated. Yes, we totally understand it, but you need to learn how to go through the basics first. So let's just quickly compile this and try to deploy again. My core account address remains the same. I don't want to play around with it. And I'll say, okay, this time I'm adding 25. Goes through, great. Get treasure, 25. Owner is this person. Treasure amount is 25, right? Now, last time, any account that you call with, because we did not set who can view the treasure, it was fine. But this time if you click get treasure, it says, hey, access denied. Only the owner can perform this action, right? So you are not able to see it. And then, okay. For the other account, okay, so I'll just quickly copy this and change my account address to the previous one. Okay, approve withdrawal. Again, I will say you can withdraw 10 this time because I'm in a really good mood. So it goes through and okay, so even though I have 10 as the allowance, I say I want to withdraw 4. Okay, and this you have to check, is that still my account, right? So I am not trying to do the transfer from the account that has gotten the allowance. So make sure that you change the account and say, hey, I want to withdraw the treasure 4. So can I just get treasure here? And it says no, only the owner can perform this action, right? Because I cannot see what is the total value. So out of 25, if I've given out 4, 21 should be left. So I'll just go back to my owner account and say, oh, get treasure. Good, it goes through, right? Now, I'm saying that, hey, you know what? I want to just reset the withdrawal status here and be like, let's give that person another chance, okay? Even if that person has withdrawn, or maybe like I wanted to give out more and I need to change the status, just like that. So I'll say, hey, you know what? Wait, yeah, reset withdrawal address, transact. Oh shit, sorry. Yeah, reset withdrawal address, transact. Okay, gone. So now I can again go through and withdraw it again. I can change it here and then just go about performing to transact. Oops. You do not have, oh, yeah. So because I reset the withdrawal status, it says, oh, you do not have any treasure allowance, right? So that is why the transaction didn't go through. But anyway, now imagine I want to transfer the ownership to an entirely new account. Okay, I'll just copy it quickly and move back to my original account and say, hey, you know what? Let me just transfer the ownership to this new address and go through and say, okay, transact. Now will I be able to get treasure? No. Now I am no longer the owner of this particular admin only service. So I have to go back to the account that has gotten the ownership and I say, okay, get treasure. Now it will go through and then it's 21 because I did not do any withdrawals, right? So pretty much that's it. That's us trying to implement certain concepts multiple times so that you know that, okay, how this is done. In a final recap of what we've just built, we're saying that we are talking about a treasure chest where an owner controls everything. Other users can be approved for a one-time access. The contract keeps tracks of who has done the withdrawal, who hasn't. The owner can always reset, transfer, or manage access with full control. Multiple times we've used message.sender, require modifiers for this particular contract and mappings, obviously. So you have to make sure that if you're not able to understand any of these concepts, you go back to the previous video to actually get clarity on it, and also refer to the resources that we've shared with the community to be able to understand more. Now, what next can you do with this? Again, maybe just put certain conditions, maybe try for multiple owners if you can do that. Maybe say that, hey, you need approval of 2 owners to be able to maybe withdraw, transfer the ownership, or withdrawal allowances, you need multiple owners. Anything, just play around, as long as you are able to put things together, we are pretty good with it. So yeah, that's day 5 and I will see you on day 6. We'll learn some more concepts and I hope this is not too overwhelming for you. Okay guys, bye.